Hey, so we're going to go through the update for last month, April of 2026. So we always have that first intro for anybody that's getting this on a PDF, so you can see that. 5 things I really want to highlight from last month. We're now launching a piloting referral program with an IPP to basically identify veterans that are in these energy project communities, because what we found when we did the Texas tours, a lot of times those relationships just kind of go fallow or wither on the vine after a project has been permitted and constructed. And we want to make sure that veterans that are living inside of energy project communities, even if they're not trying to work in those communities, that's a lot of what we do is try to help veterans get into this industry. We want to educate them as well. So if we can help them get jobs, that's great. But we just want to continue to keep them connected, keep them educated, keep them, just organized and knowing what's happening in their backyard, because we think that, again, that military veterans in these project communities in this industry are the best messengers for this industry. Another thing, we're rolling out an essay series on our Substack called The Combined Arms of Energy, and you can find that first link there. And what it is really talking about like my personal experience when I was in Iraq, what it was like, doing fuel runs, or having to hand out diesel so families could try to keep food cold for their infants. What does energy security really mean at the tip of the spear? From my experience, and we'll have a 10-part essay series kind of like detailing that, because what I've found is when we've interviewed people, sometimes we know the macro high-level talking points that energy security is national security, but what does that mean for us individually? And I think that military veterans with this industry experience are critical in being able to tell those stories. And so I'll go first and share a lot of these experiences that I've had, and then we want to start inviting other members, starting with our community leaders, to do guest vlogs on the Substack relating their experiences and how we can really shape and frame this narrative in a way that really meets the moment right now. The new podcast series, Transition. So we're going to be identifying a half dozen currently serving but transitioning service members that are trying to get into the energy industry, and showcasing how Project Vanguard as a platform and in a community can amplify their stories and expedite their transition successfully into the energy industry. So we'll be looking for a broad range of folks from the enlisted side of the house, some junior military officers, those that are retiring, senior NCOs. And we really want to showcase what's it like when you use your GI Bill, when you do an undergrad, when you do a postgrad, when you're retiring out. And we've already had some really great conversations with different, chief warrants coming out of SF. And we're going to have just, some really great partnerships and just tell those stories about what is it not like, not just getting out of the military and getting into this industry, but once you land, what is that like? Because we want to make sure that Project Vanguard is designed and meeting the needs of veterans in this industry, whether they're coming in or they've just arrived, and making sure that they're successful in this industry. You can learn more about that there. And we've worked with American Clean Power. Their big Clean Power conference is coming up next month in Houston, where I'm at. And so we're excited about that. You can follow the link and see an entire track of programming for veterans. We'll have a booth right outside the Veterans Lounge at the conference. So come by and see us if you plan on coming out to that. And we look forward to seeing you there. Last year, we had our biggest happy hour, about, 85, 100 people. I should have done a better job keeping track, but it was busy. And it was a good problem to have. So we're looking forward to having another big turnout. So tell your friends. You don't have to sign up ahead of time. Just show up. We're looking forward to it. But you can sign up just so you can stay plugged in on everything we have going on. And then I'll show you a picture in a minute, but we had Project Vanguard Day in Louisiana. So the state legislature voted on it. Thanks to our friends with the Gulf State Renewable Energy Industry Association, GSRIA. We were able to have a great energy day at the State House, and Jimmy Supple from our team was able to go out there and represent us and receive the proclamation. So lots to talk about as we keep going on through the year. All right, so we'll talk more about what happened last month and kind of what's coming up in the next 90 days more of our long-term stuff and how you can get involved. Okay. So we did about 500,000 in social impressions. It's been going down from that high in February. We had 1 million. We've been trying to focus more on the engagement segment of our funnel, not just the top. If we try to narrow it down too far to conversions, we just don't see really great conversions to membership when we do that inside of LinkedIn and other platforms. And we're trying to spread some of our ad budget around growing our Facebook presence. We haven't really played with Instagram. We've tried a little bit on YouTube. So we went from, I think, like 18 followers to now 300, something like that. So that's really been growing on YouTube. And plus, we just have a ton of video content that we're generating every month. So that makes sense for that one to really start growing. And we had Laura Gardner on. She just joined the advisory board. She's CTO at NovaSource, and some great, conversations as we go through. And we're going to start doing our podcasts as video podcasts. So right now it's just audio only when you go to the YouTube page, which these links go to. But you'll start seeing more content that's a little bit easier to digest. Okay, so I did just find that picture with me and Lourdes, just funny from her podcast when she whipped out the sash. She had the tiara, but I didn't get that in the screenshot. So that was fun. We had Cress at the recent summit for Texas A&M. Cress is a good friend, CEO of Berg Enterprises. He's one of our community leaders here in Houston. The next one over is we did some interviews that we still haven't released, but we need to soon, from the ACP Siting and Permitting Conference. So that was really great. There we have a young man that's interning with NextEra after finishing up, his undergrad and doing all this stuff after being enlisted in the Army. So, there's just some really great stories. You don't have to look far to find these amazing stories of veterans in our industry. Again, we got Jimmy there with Monica from GS RIA on the legislative day there. We had Ricky and Lourdes and Barrett at the Virginia Veteran Happy Hour at 3 Notched. I think that was in Charlottesville. Shimei in Arizona went out to lunch with not one, but 2 state senators. So, that was really great. I was able to connect with Senator Gowan at the ALEC conference, which is, more conservative state representative event that we're really excited to get more involved with, hopefully over the course of the year. I was able to judge in the Rice Business Plan competition. Picture there with one of the founders, Al Danto. The Vet Biz Battle, Veteran Business Battle, is this longest running veteran business plan competition. I've been really privileged to judge for, I think, the last 9 or 12 years. Just a tremendous program that's been deploying a ton of capital. So if you're not familiar with it, if you're a small business owner, it's a really great way to get involved. We had a couple of veteran-owned energy companies that were pitching, Oleo and Helix, both of which are energy startups that are really optimizing existing energy processes around steel industry and both the fuel industry. So really proud of what they're doing. We had a Houston Legislative Roundtable during Sarah Week that Sean Solis, another one of our community leaders, was able to attend at Greentown Labs. And then after the ACP Siting Conference, while we were in Colorado, one of our members, Kate, took us out for a tour of the National Lab of the Rockies, formerly NREL. And we were able to get a bunch of our members from the Colorado chapter to come out. And that was really exciting to see that facility and all the great work and research that's being done there. Plus, it's always a great time to be in Colorado. Our store is live. So if you go to the website, you can see right here the store tab, and you can get whatever you want. You want hats, you want stickers, you want these 50 caliber bottle openers that say Energy Security is National Security with our logo. You want some Arctic tumblers. We've got the whole thing. So you can just go there. We're going to be getting even more swag. When we said that we had the ACP Clean Power Conference next month. We're also going to have Project Vanguard lanyards, so you'll be able to get those ahead of time to identify, and then come and find us throughout the conference. Come by our booth, come to the Veterans Lounge. We'll have stickers for your branch of service, so you can not just identify yourself. We'll probably have those ribbons you tack onto your lanyard when you're at these conferences, but also just, some branch identification for everybody. I think it will make it easier to have just better ice-breaking conversations as you go through the conference and you meet other veterans. We really want to showcase that veterans are present at these conferences, because I'm always shocked by how many people just don't realize how much we represent inside the industry, and we want to accelerate that. I do want to call out Tanner, Ricky, Evan, Adam, Will, and David for posting more jobs inside the Slack channel. So make sure you're going in there if you're looking or you want to share. Again, we ask that if you do get a job, let us know so we can tell that story. But also, make sure you're posting jobs that you have some kind of, insight into. For instance, Adam, I'll have to follow up with them. Good friends with Mush over at Alchemy Industrial. I didn't know he was hiring them, but that's great. And we want to be able to, connect folks with the opportunities that we have influence or insight on. So vets are getting good matches and they're doing really great accelerated networking for their careers. Again, you can find all the Project Vanguard community leaders on the speakers tab. So if I go back right here, speakers. If you go to speakers, you will find all profiles on all of our community leaders. And you'll be able to submit requests to have them speak on blogs, podcasts, panels, whatever. We'll have more news coming out on the Texas tour shortly for 2026. And then in the near term, we do have, some project permitting meetings coming up in Putnam County, Illinois, Elbert County, Colorado. That's the eastern part of Colorado. Putnam's about hour and a half northeast of Springfield in the central part of the state. And the big thing will be the Clean Power Happy Hour coming up. We're also going to be running a legislative day, an energy day for veterans in North Carolina during their state legislative session, and that'll be towards the end of June next month. Okay, so we're continuing to grow. We've seen new members signups drop off a little bit last month, but we're seeing a higher conversion over to Slack, so that's good. And as we do more stuff, Gabby and I are currently working on integrating the events to make sure that we kind of get away from Eventbrite and we start integrating everything inside of our CRM to make sure that there's no leakage of people signing up here, but it doesn't get over here. They don't get out of the newsletter, all that kind of stuff, which is super boring and you don't care about. But it's just a bunch of infrastructure work that helps us scale, as we're going to be bringing on somebody to run our Iowa chapter part-time in the next month or so. And we've had some great candidates come through, and I'm super excited about getting that up and running. And if you hadn't seen the ad series with one of our Iowa members, Ben Doyle, you haven't been on our social media pages because it's been all over there. And Ben has a great story, and he is a real servant leader in helping veterans get amazing energy careers. Again, we have those mobilization goals in Illinois, Colorado, North Carolina right now. We're going to see a lot more next year inside of Virginia, Texas, Louisiana again, Arizona, Oklahoma, Indiana, Ohio. I'll be coming out to Ohio to kind of talk about a C&I bill that they have. It's been really interesting to meet a lot of the folks that are leading this legislation. These are real small government Republicans that are focused on, expanding energy options in the state and democratizing energy security for their constituents. And I think it's really great. This is kind of an updated map of where all of our advocates and leaders are across the country. And then if you want to stay engaged, make sure to sign up. You can volunteer, attend an event, and then make sure to follow us on all these social things. I'm not a fan of social media, but apparently it works, so we keep having to do it. So make sure to follow us there, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.